Hey everybody, it's LTM here. About to leave the house right now, and I'm about to go watch Wonka. So, give you a little bit of a background about what Wonka is, Willy Wonka was. It was a story that Roald Dahl, if you don't know who Roald Dahl is, he's one of the most influential authors of all time, right up there with Dr. Seuss. Roald Dahl is known for stories like Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, James and the Giant Peach, The Witches, Matilda, and one of my personal favorite stories, one of my most favorite children's books of all time is Fantastic Mr. Fox. Made a movie based on that. But back on to Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, there are two versions that I grew up with. I haven't seen the Broadway musical, but I do remember these two other movie versions that I grew up with. One of them is the original Willy Wonka, which a lot of people seem to really love and is the superior version. I think it's pretty good. Definitely a pretty good movie for its time, and definitely one of the darkest kids films I've ever seen in my life. But then there's also the Tim Burton version, which is the one I grew up with the most as a kid, and is the movie that introduced me to the story. Very good movie. I will admit the Tim Burton one hasn't aged as well as a lot of people say it is, because like I said, there are some cringeful moments and the effects are a little goofy nowadays. But I look back on the movie fondly. It's got its moments, and I do like Johnny Depp as Wonka. So now we have this prequel movie, which is more connected to the 1970s film, you know, the Willy Wonka, and I think it's connected to that. I don't know if this is like a standalone prequel, or if this is just something that's going to connect to a cinematic universe, or this is an actual prequel to the Willy Wonka. It wouldn't be a prequel to the Tim Burton version, because they explain a lot of the backstory in the Charlie version, but I know this is this one looks like it's more connected to the Willy Wonka film, so I don't know. Maybe it's a standalone film. I don't know. But I'm going to this movie with an open mind. It's got a really good team behind it, because they got the people that worked on the Paddington movies, which I really enjoyed. Some of the best kids films of the past decade. So I'm going to go into this movie with an open mind. I don't think it'll be as good as the Paddington films, because the Paddington films are really good on their own. But we'll see. This is LTM, and I'll be right back. Hey guys, it's LTM here. I just got back home from seeing the movie, and I took everybody home. So I just got back from watching Wonka, and as I'm recording this, basically, I know the movie just came out. So as I mentioned before in the beginning of this video, I have seen the Willy Wonka, the original, and I've seen the Charlie version. Both are pick your poison or different taste, but I do like both versions of the story. So I'll try to get a little more detail as I did in the beginning. So when I heard they were doing a prequel, I was a little skeptical at first, because I didn't know that this was really necessary to have. But once I saw this movie, I was like, wow, that really surprised me. And I know this is going to sound a little bit ahead of myself for this, but I was going to say Wonka's probably the best kids film I've seen all year. I don't know if I like it better than something like Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse, but it's pretty good, honestly. So Wonka is a prequel, and I don't know if it's, like I said, it's kind of weird, because I don't know how the continuity works for this movie. I know it's supposed to be closer to the 70s version, but I don't know if it's going to be, it's complicated, but the continuity is complicated. So Timothy, I forgot his last name, it's the guy from Dune and the French Dispatch. He plays Willy Wonka, and he's sailing off to go start a new business with chocolate. But then there's like these other companies that are like that own the police, and basically they don't want him to sell him the chocolate. And then Willy Wonka ends up in this hotel where he ends up being a slave there. And then Willy Wonka makes these new friends, and decide to team up to help him sell his chocolate. And, of course, meeting an Oompa Loompa played by Hugh Grant. I will not say any more from there, because the rest of it's pretty insane. But to be fair, this is the kind of plot you wouldn't think would work for a Willy Wonka movie. But to be fair, Willy Wonka, in this movie, it tries to be its own thing. And whether you like the other movies or not, I will admit they were trying to be like the same thing. Like, they were trying to be this big masterpiece. It's kind of like Kong Skull Island, where it's like this movie just comes in and it's like, never mind the other movies, let's have fun with it this time. It's trying to be its own thing, It had a direction where I had no idea where it was going to go, and it just feels like it's alive and with it. Like, this movie is fun, charming, likable, funny, very fun adventure. Um, Willy Wonka himself, played by Timothy, like I said, I forgot his last name, and if I say his last name, it's going to be pretty hard to pronounce. Basically, he's very, very good in this, honestly. He's very likable. I was a little bit iffy at first when I heard he was doing the role for Willy Wonka, because a younger version of him just didn't seem right. But he plays the character pretty well, and he still has that charm of what the original Gene Wilder version did. The acting is really good for the most part. It has its own charm. It's really funny. The songs are very, very good songs. A lot of them remind me of The Greatest Showman half of the time. Hugh Grant as the Oompa Loompa is probably the funniest and best parts of the film for me. Now, I will admit, when I did see the trailer and I saw the design of him, I thought it looked a little cringeful. But to be fair, he's not in the movie for it very long. And number two, they found a way where he was able to balance out the CGI and everything, all that. So Hugh Grant did a good job as the Oompa Loompa. The direction, I didn't know where it was going to go. The best way to describe the most of the direction was like Gangs of New York for kids. But that's just because of the way they're... if you've seen Gangs of New York, you'll understand. But basically, the movie has a lot going for it. It's very funny. It's very charming. Kind of like the Paddington movies. They're good on their own, even if you didn't have all like the pop culture references or all the American stuff that you'd see in most kids' films. Wonka feels like that. It's its own thing. It was very funny. It gave me a lot of nostalgia. It reminded me a lot of the Willy Wonka version from the 70s. It's a really fun film to take out for the kids. Overall, guys, Wonka is one of the best kids films I've seen all year. I don't know if I like it better than Spider-Man, because I'm thinking of putting one or the other lower or higher on the list. But Wonka is one of the best films I've seen all year as well. If you have kids or families, or you love the Willy Wonka or the Charlie of the Chocolate Factory movies, or if you love the book, or Roald Dahl in general, go watch this movie. I think you'll totally dig it out. Overall score, 10 out of 10. Go see it. If you haven't seen it, stop watching this video and go see it right now. I'll guarantee you'll have a great time. Alright guys, so that's Wonka. Just want to let you guys know that I do have an editorial being released, a Christmas editorial being released sometime this upcoming week, so keep an eye on that. If I get done earlier, I might release it this upcoming Wednesday. If not, then it'll obviously before Christmas, which will be this Friday, 2 days before Christmas. So hopefully it'll be either released Wednesday or Friday. So I'll keep you all updated on the channel, chat. You know what I'm talking about. But anyways, this is LTM Cyan. I'll see you guys next time.